All right, good afternoon, everybody. Can you all hear me okay at the back of the room? Yeah, perfect. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Leach. I'm proud to be finishing my second full year as chair of the Reach Edmonton Council Board of Directors. On behalf of myself and the rest of our current and future and some of our former board members who are here, it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to our 2025 annual general meeting. Before I get to the business of the meeting, I'd like to acknowledge some people who are in the room today. Councillors Rutherford and Knack, representatives from the city, from our partners at the city, the Edmonton Police Service, the Edmonton Police Commission, as well as past chairs of the board, Donna Ludvigsen, Pilar Martinez, and Lindsay Kelly, who I believe, yes, is here as well. So thank you all for coming today. I know we are expecting the mayor, but I don't believe he has joined us as of yet. So I'll preemptively acknowledge his soon-to-be arrival. You'll find at your tables, if you haven't picked them up yet, the board meeting package, which will be helpful for the rest of the day to follow along. Now, before I pass over to Jan for a couple of important introductions, as well as greetings from our elder, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that we are gathered today on Treaty 6 territory in the traditional lands of First Nations and Métis people. Amaskwacis Waskahegan, how'd I do? Am I doing okay on that? Or Edmonton, as many of us know it, has been a traditional gathering place for diverse Indigenous peoples, including the Cree, Blackfoot, Métis, Nakota Sioux, Iroquois, Dene, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Anishinaabe, Inuit, and many others. And their histories, languages, and cultures continue to influence our vibrant community and are inherently connected with a lot of the work that we do at REACH. So as you think through and consider the programs and look at the reports and listen to my reports and Jan, please also consider how our work here at REACH contributes to our roles as treaty people. And at this time, with that left for you to ponder, I'd like to invite REACH Executive Director Jan Fox to the podium to offer protocol.
Okay, you've heard of career limiting moves, right? You might want to talk to Holly Hallberg about that. Sorry, inside jokes. Just before Andrew, you didn't move your pages like you were supposed to.
I shuffled them.
You did. Thank you very much. Just before I introduce the elder, which is my great honor, I did want to make a little fun of Andrew. When you asked how you had done with the pronunciation of Edmonton, you looked over at the elder and he kind of politely said, okay. Then he said, I don't know, I'm not Cree. I told you I had the mic, right? But also, I wanted to just highlight a very, very special guest that we have here today. And the reason I'm doing this ahead of introducing the elder is because I know that she has to leave right away. And Andrew did briefly mention Lindsay Kelly, but I just wanted to point out that if without Lindsay Kelly and her partner at the time, Fred Rayner, there would be no REACH. She was the original chair. She was mental health worker, a co-chair, along with a former police chief, Fred Rayner. And at the time, the then mayor, Mayor Mandel, appointed them to have a task force that went about and consulted with thousands of Edmontonians, and they created the REACH report with 9 recommendations, which I want you to know we still honor today. There are 9 very, very good recommendations that are very generic. I also want you to know that there's a couple of people here, there's 3 people in the room here today from Bristol, England, and they have actually come to Edmonton to learn about the REACH model because it's something that they want to take back to their community. And we've heard that in various other places across the country. So I know you have to leave. I will be saying more about you later on, but thank you so much for this. I hope that we've made your vision come true. Okay, back to the script. I know, sorry, they were bugging me at the table that I really need to stick to the script. But okay, so thank you. As Andrew mentioned, of course, my name is Jan Fox, and I'm proud to be the Executive Director at REACH Edmonton Council for Safe Communities. I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge a great loss for all of us at REACH this past year. Our dear Elder Gilman Cardinal, who was known as the Reach Elder since our inception, Gilman always told everyone he was Reach's elder, or my favorite, Jan's elder. I always felt that he worked with us in good times and in tough times. He opened our new office with a smudge and then returned when we reopened after COVID. He always had a hug for me and everyone else, and he always made me smile. That smile and laughter, as you will remember, was so infectious. Last year, Gilman arrived a little early at the AGM. It's just last year. It makes me sad to think about it. And he mentioned that he was a little bit hungry. So the food was not quite ready to be served, but as I was taught, because he was an elder, if he wanted food, I was going to get him a snack. And yes, Crystal, I did learn that from you. So the buffet wasn't ready, but that was all right. I went in and I just lifted up the plastic from it. And at that very moment, my board chair, Andrew Leach, came along and gave me a rather quizzical look as to why I was taking food off of the buffet. So I, right away, says, for the elder, and he went, sure. And then he went over and asked Elder Cardinal, and he said, oh, no, I didn't ask for that. That's for you. He was always making us laugh, wasn't he? So he did deny it with his famous smile. Anyways, no matter what we asked him to do, he always happily complied. And I had the absolute honor of attending Gilman's wake and funeral, and it was obvious how well respected he was in the whole community. In fact, he was so well regarded that the Rotary Club of Edmonton, did a speaker series and teaching people about Indigenous ways, teachings, and so on, and we named it in his honor. It was such a blessing to have him with us at many past AGMs and events, and from all of us at REACH, myself and our staff, as well as the community, his loss will be felt greatly. Just take a moment. Thank you. Now, next in our program, we had Mayor Sohi was going to come and bring greetings, but he hasn't quite yet arrived. So I think we'll just postpone it a second, have Andrew come up and officially open the meeting, and then I will do the year in review. And if Mayor Sohi comes, we'll just stop and have him come.
Hmm?
Go ahead. I'm just going to stay because I'm right next to you.
All right, I'm not offering the greetings from the mayor, so, and I'm not going to say thank you to the mayor either. So, now I guess we've lost our part of the meeting. So is this called?
Yeah, just calling it to order.
I guess it's my pleasure to call our meeting to order and then to invite Jan to deliver. See how we've coordinated this. To invite Jan to deliver our year in review.
Well done.
I think you could have done that.
No, I don't think that the people in the governance committee would let me open the AGM. That belongs to the board, but thanks anyways. So again, if Mayor Sohi pops in, someone wants to quick give me a signal, I'll immediately yield the floor to him. So it's at this time of the year that I really do have the distinct pleasure of doing a bit of a year in review. We won't go into too much detail because many of you have right in front of you our annual report that'll give you some of the highlights of this year. But I am still proud of lots of the things that we have accomplished this year, and it's a great opportunity to highlight them. First and foremost, I think, and maybe because it's top of mind and we actually began today, and I alluded to it earlier, we are so pleased to say that we launched the Empire Fighting Chance program, which is and don't laugh when I say this because there is an explanation, a non-contact boxing program for at-risk youth that has had just resounding success in Bristol, England, and throughout England, and is now being looked at to countries all over the world. We launched the training today. 25 people are being trained from 8 different organizations. And I'm very pleased to say that we have with us 3 people from the Empire Fighting Chance. We have Martin and Cass and Aaron. If you guys just want to give everybody a wave. And I know I'm also not supposed to do this, but I really can't resist, and I'm going to beg forgiveness. This would not have been possible without the generosity of an amazing donor family who are also very close friends to REACH Edmonton, and that is Grant Erickson and Donna Ludvidson. I did get their permission, but they said I couldn't do it with much hoopla. But I want you to know that it would not have been possible without you, and we're so grateful, and we're excited that you're going to come and see the work this week. So thank you for being here, and thank you very much for the donation. So Grant, no balloons, no confetti. That was okay? I'm still getting the look, but that's okay. So REACH was also on the international scene more than ever in this last year between the knowledge exchange with Empire Fighting Chants that I just mentioned in Bristol, England, a speaking engagement at the Alliance for Peace Building PeaceCon 2024 in Washington, United States on behalf of Peace in Our Cities, and the United Nations World Forum in Cairo, Egypt. The other thing we're proud of, another thing moving on, is we had, many of you know about the work of our YAG ambassadors. I see Connie's in the back. She's been instrumental in that from the City of Edmonton. That's a partnership with the North Edge Business Association. Well, it was with the North Edge Business Association who did the work, and now we are working with several other business organizations. I think others are here. Eric, I saw you here for that program. We're very proud to say that we've worked to bring those ambassadors to work under the REACH umbrella so that we can provide them some further support. The program is growing under the leadership, though, of the BIAs. Our RAP-ED program that you hear me talk about almost every year, that's our gang prevention strategy. This requires another cheer, is we got continued sustainable funding for that for the next 5 years. So REACH is also, I just want to say a couple of our partners. We're very proud to support the innovative work of Beyond the Status Quo. This is an inspiration of the Edmonton Chamber of Voluntary Organizations. I don't think Gemma or her team are in the room, but a shout out to them. This exciting work led to a summit this spring, bringing together the voluntary sector, serving our most vulnerable, to courageously look at a new and better way of doing things. REACH will continue to support that work by serving on a governance committee that was announced during that summit. The first year of our 5-year social return on investment study for 24/7 crisis diversion was received. And in 2023, it's estimated that we were able to create $5.20 in savings for every dollar that was invested. So we're very proud of that. Now, my friend from Bristol is not necessarily a great fan of social return on investment, but we here are, and we're going to teach. That's why they're here, to learn about that. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm also very proud that we very much upped our communications game in terms of our online presence on social media, graphics, stories, reports, and also providing that communication support for many other organizations, including that Beyond the Status Quo that I mentioned earlier. The biannual Resource Connect that many of you attended was Edmonton's largest not-for-profit resource fair, was held in October and saw its largest audience with over 1,000 people in attendance. We also increased our outreach work, building on Resource Connect. We held our first Tea Time Social based on what we heard from other nonprofits, and the virtual networking gatherings continue to be valuable. So people said that, yes, they appreciated the biannual Resource Connect, but they wanted more opportunities to come together, and we delivered on that. We had more training offerings, including health in the workplace, mental health first aid training, and naloxone training. Along with other stakeholders, most notably the City of Edmonton and Edmonton Police Service, both school boards, and Alberta Health Services, REACH continued to participate in the new blueprint for violence prevention with the City of Edmonton. The focus will be short-term and long-term goals with an emphasis on community-driven solutions while maintaining whole-of-systems approach and data-driven approaches to prevent violence in Edmonton. Great strides were made towards a new data and evaluation framework for REACH, which will better can capture the efforts of the work that we're doing throughout the city. And I want to thank many of our colleagues at the city, including Councillor Rutherford, for helping us a lot. So she does more than just advise us on the board. She helps us with some of that community development evaluation, so thank you for that. REACH continued to support more than 30 programs, partnerships, and initiatives, and contributed to safer communities across 8 focus areas that were introduced by the board in 2024. These are combating human trafficking and exploitation, diverting crisis, prioritizing anti-racism, Indigenous, and lived experience, The mayor is here. I'm just about to, oh, good. Just give me 1 sec to finish this and I'll gladly introduce you, Your Worship. Mitigating addictions and mental health problems, building safe and inclusive neighborhoods, preventing violence, and inclusive neighborhoods. And promoting child and youth services. So let me go back to my script. I'm so excited to introduce to you His Worship, Mayor Sohi, who has agreed to bring greetings to us. I lost my notes, but that's okay because I have lots I can say about Mayor Sohi without any notes. Many of you won't know that Mayor Sohi was the very first advisor on the REACH board. And he sat on the council that approved REACH. In fact, you're sitting at the table, you just missed Lindsay Kelly. She had to go to an appointment, but she would pass on her best to you too. He's always been a huge supporter of the work of REACH, both when he was a councillor, a mayor, and when he was an elected MP and minister. He was always there to support REACH. We've always appreciated your support, sir, and I welcome you to the stage to bring greetings.
I have prepared notes, a lot of them, but first of all, I know we're gonna. I was really hoping that Lindsay would be here to, because I really wanted to start by thanking her. So I will do that, even though she's not here, because she played an instrumental role in creating this organization. And the hours and hours that she put in, along with Fred Rayner as co-chair of the task force. It took a couple of years of work to put this together, and without their leadership, I don't think we would have been able to navigate the kind of complex ecosystem that we had to navigate at that time, and the deep engagement that took place with the various communities and organizations. So if you see both of them in your work, in your engagement, please do convey them the deepest appreciation, because we wouldn't be here without that initial work that they had undertaken. So give them a round of applause. Yeah. I also want to thank my council colleague, Councillor Rutherford, for carrying on this work over the last 4 years. We all know that community safety is a shared responsibility. It requires leadership from grassroots organizations working with all orders of government, and your city council has been committed to this work. And Councillor Rutherford has been providing that linkage between council and the community and REACH Edmonton. So make sure that we are keeping up to date on all the work that has been done. So big round of applause to Councillor Rutherford. I'm pretty sure, as the tradition is, that this AGM opened by acknowledging that we are gathered here on Treaty 6 territory. It is not only a tradition, but it's also a sense of obligation and responsibility that when we talk about building inclusive, welcoming, exciting places to live, we also need to acknowledge that the opportunity that we have to be on this land and how gracious and welcoming First Nations, Métis, and Indian communities have been, our lives would not have been possible. Our prosperity, what we have been able to do here, would not have been possible. And we have a sense of obligation that we continue to engage and show our gratitude and have a deep commitment towards reconciliation and repairing the harm that has been done through colonization, through various other things that governments did. So I think it's very fitting. I'm pretty sure you did that as well. Thank you so much for doing that. I think I'm probably taking longer than you thought I would, but I'm going to take a little longer than I usually do, because this is going to be my last AGM in my role as an elected official, particularly in my role as mayor. So I want to take a little bit longer than I usually do. So you can kick me out. That's okay, right? I won't be coming back anyways, right? So, yeah. In that capacity, but I will be back in other capacity. I mean, as a community volunteer, as someone who's really vested in this city's well-being. I have learned so much by being part of those initial conversations. The conversation that we have over 2 years really deepened my understanding what it takes to build a safer community. Often we focus on one aspect of safety, which is about investing in enforcement, investing in the rule of law, and changes that we have to make. And I came to that table actually with that kind of understanding, working very closely with the EPS, being a volunteer with EPS, and my understanding of community safety was broadened during that conversation because it really helped me understand that safety is not just about enforcement. Safety is actually about if we're unable to tackle the root causes that marginalize our people, that take away opportunities from them or don't give them the opportunity to have the full support of the community, that we will never be able to build the kind of safer communities that we all desire to build. So I think it's various aspects of community work that requires for us to build a safer community, including the work of law enforcement, including the work of people in this room who are really tackling those deep-rooted causes of marginalization, poverty, and other forms of discrimination that people face. So thank you for including me, be part of that. I want to thank each and every one of you for enriching my life and my understanding of what it takes to build a safer community for all of us. I also want to take this moment to thank many people that I had a chance to work with, being part of that early conversation, but also being the consular advisor where Mayor Mandel actually asked me to be part of it, right? So I want to take that opportunity as well. So I do have a little certificate to present to you. Jen, if you want to come over. Oh, hi, Andrew Leach. I didn't even see you were standing on the side. How could I miss a tall guy like you? Yeah. Andrew is a cool guy. Yeah. If you don't know Andrew. Yeah, you do you? So actually, when I was appointed Minister of I really enjoyed my time as Minister of Infrastructure, but when I was appointed Minister of Natural Resources, I had a huge task of fixing a big problem in the system, which was how do we undertake indigenous consultation to move big national nation-building projects like pipelines, right? And I reached out to Andrew, actually. He was few of the first people that I met on understanding the intersection of natural resources, resource development, environmental sustainability, and all that. So thank you, Andrew. Nice to see you. So I do have a certificate. It is on behalf of all of Council, by the way. Yeah. Oh, Councilor Knack is here too. How was he introduced?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Can you stand up and be seen in the Oilers jersey? Yeah. It is congratulations, Reach Edmonton, Council of Safe Communities, on your 15th anniversary. Signed by the mayor on behalf of Council. Want to go ahead? And finally, listen, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be your mayor. I really enjoyed it, and I have a few more months to enjoy it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mayor Sohi, for joining us and for that quote, which will appear on my Twitter bio at some point in the very near future. We certainly appreciated your role, obviously initially as councillor on the REACH board, and which was before my time on the board, and since as mayor, and the support of the city as our key and I think growing partner over time with all of our REACH programs. So thank you so much for your support and for joining us today. I'm going to turn the floor back to Jan now for the continuation of the year in review.
I want to thank you too, Mayor Sohi, but I want to be a cool guy too. All right. Andrew, we've got 2 sets of notes up here now. We're really in bad shape. All right. Oh, go. I know, I know. Page 8, okay. We're trying to keep it together, but you got us so excited there, Mayor, that we just couldn't. So, all right, so I was talking about the 8 focus areas, but really what I want to say of great importance here now is all this work could never be done alone. I'm hoping this slide will come up here. I continue to be humbled and thankful for the passion that each and every member of the REACH team brings to the workplace every single day. And I would like to thank our partners for their willingness to continue connecting, checking in, and holding us accountable as we work together to shift and meet community needs. REACH Edmonton experienced exponential growth in our team over the last 2 years, and I would like to welcome these new staff that joined us since the past AGM. There you have it. I'm not going to read out those names, but okay. So now, because it is our 15th anniversary, I am very, very honored to be able to make some presentations because there are some staff that have been here for the entire 15 years. So I'm very grateful for the talented and compassionate staff, and in fact, though, we have 3 people who have been with REACH since the very beginning, and before coming over from the city of Edmonton. These are Adele Towns, Holly Harburg, and Kelly Holland. So, I'm not done there. They said they were going to get everybody to clap so I wouldn't say some things, but that's not going to happen. So maybe you guys can start to make your way to the stage as I introduce them each. So let me start with Adele. It's an absolute understatement to say that REACH would never grown and thrived without the visionary leadership of Adele. As noted, she has been with us since the beginning. Actually, before the beginning. Adele, along with Kate Gunn, who sadly couldn't be here with us today, did all the work needed to actually create REACH Edmonton. Adele supported the work of the task force and oversaw the transition of the work from the City of Edmonton to a not-for-profit reporting to a board of governors. At the time, REACH was the only city in Canada to take this bold step of creating an arm's-length organization that would be nimble, responsive, and flexible. As I mentioned earlier, however, we're proud to say that our model has been replicated both nationally and internationally. Adele epitomizes the concept of quiet leadership. Everyone in the room will agree. And leading from behind. And she's literally behind me.
I know.
She has the most incredible can-do attitude and literally has a solution for every problem. Everybody in the room is nodding when I say that. A solution for every problem. You'll find that money, Adele. We've been digging through the couch cushions, but we'll get there. But she never, ever takes any credit for it. She is masterful at letting me know what she thinks, especially when I'm going in the wrong direction, and she's always right. Throughout the years, Adele has played many roles in the organization, including HR, communications, and finance. No job is too big, no job is too small. Adele is a very strategic thinker and an amazing member of the leadership team. She mentors many, both internally and externally. Adele has an amazing corporate memory and can find stuff from decades ago within minutes. Adele has patiently taught me so much, and I'm honored to work with her. You gotta sit here and listen to the rest of it. Okay, now comes to Holly. Holly joined REACH when she was Holly Miller. And she also worked for the city like Adele. And like her, she agreed to take a leap of faith and leave the city job to help with this new entity, Reach Edmonton. A courageous move indeed. My first memories of Holly were that she was just so young, but I immediately learned that she was wise beyond her years and so smart and passionate about the work. Holly has continued to flourish as she moved through her 20s, not to say you're old now. I remember when Holly and Mike got married. Please, if you have a moment, take time to ask her wedding story, because it's pretty funny. Early on, Holly distinguished herself to me. On my very first day, she made me feel so welcome, and in those few minutes we spent together, I remember thinking how glad I was to join this team. Another time she introduced herself to me was at a staff retreat a few months after I started at Reach. There was a bear session where they had all the staff just be able to, ask questions of the new executive director. They could ask me anything they wanted about my vision for Reach, and Holly proudly put up her hand and said, "When are you going to retire?" She denies it to this day, but, just saying, that was 13 years ago. And now I'm asking her when she's going to retire. True story. Holly began as a project manager where she oversaw many of the youth programs. All of these programs absolutely flourished under her leadership. She quickly earned a place on our leadership team. Holly was responsible for our first successful collaboration, RapEd. Many of your partners are in the room today. And her ability to implement this new way of serving youth was inspirational and guided the partners to meet the needs of the funder. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got sustainable funding for that again for 5 more years. Holly is so very well respected and liked in the community, and our partners regularly consult her for advice and guidance. She also is seen as an incredible leader and supervisor who always puts her team's needs ahead of her own. Holly is passionate and compassionate leader with very high emotional intelligence. That's an inside joke. Holly can always be counted upon to shepherd any new initiative and to ensure its resounding success. Her latest success has been to lead our human trafficking work, having been instrumental in setting up the Center of Excellence, leading the Safer Way Out project, and managing the Alberta Network on Human Trafficking. Congratulations, Holly. She was very afraid of what I might say. That's for the after party. Okay, now to Kelly. Who in this room does not know Kelly? Not one single person, even the people from Bristol. Kelly has often been described as the heart of Reach. I can't tell you how many times when I tell people that I work at Reach, they say, "Oh, you work with Kelly Holland, the wonderful Kelly?" And I said, "Yeah, and I'm the executive director." And they said, "Yeah, but how about Kelly?" Kelly was initially seconded to Reach from the city of Edmonton, and at one point, they understandably wanted her to go back to the city. She was so well loved in her role at Reach that even a city councillor at the time intervened to get her to stay at Reach. There wasn't anyone in the room, but thank you. It was great. Kelly has also played a number of roles at Reach. She is, of course, best known for her work with community outreach. Under her leadership, our outreach work has grown by leaps and bounds. From the humble beginnings of CAT deployments, do you remember that? Supporting police working in neighborhoods, to now hosting the largest ever Resource Connect, bringing together hundreds of not-for-profit groups in Edmonton. Kelly, I don't need to say this, but I will, is an organizer extraordinaire. No detail is left unattended. She takes care of every detail, always making partners feel welcomed and valued. The list of events that she has organized is mind-boggling, but always serve to increase awareness about the work of Reach. Whether at the West Edmonton Mall or serving the meals to the less fortunate, Kelly is always there, proudly supporting the work of Reach. Kelly manages our volunteer program, and she cares for each of the volunteers as if they were her own children. Through participation in our volunteer programs, many volunteers have gone on to be more included in the community, and many have found meaningful work because of their experience they have had, and even one of them is on the leadership team at REACH now. Kelly is an incredibly kind person. Several years ago, when my mom was in Edmonton, actually to attend a REACH AGM, my mom became gravely ill. Without saying a word, Kelly went to the hospital, visited my mom, and greatly cheered her up. I didn't even know about it for weeks later till my mom told me. So congratulations, Kelly. Thank you for their service. Did you guys all want to make a speech? Because they're all that kind of people. Now, Andrew, I do believe I've got this right, and I'm turning it back over to you to get on with the REACH AGM. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Jan. I'm going to have to move this a little bit, or else bad things are going to happen. So thank you to Jan for everything you do. As you all know, the REACH board is a governance board, and so we don't get involved in the day-to-day operations of just about anything to do with REACH except Jan. And so as chair of the board, I can tell you that one of my most interesting and sometimes daunting responsibilities, I don't have it with me, it's sitting over on the table there, but is occasionally my mobile phone will ring and the words Jan Fox will appear on this. And it should just come up and say, new opportunity, need answer now. That's what the phone call will be, because somebody, be it the mayor, be it a minister in the provincial or federal government, somebody has contacted Jan and says, we need to do this. Can you help? And my answer is, my role as board chair, and I think Pilar and Donna can also echo that, is to listen, is to think, wow, that sounds very cool, and to say, yes, we should do that. And then to say, does Adele think we can? And then as long as Adele says yes, I think we're okay. So thank you for everything that you do. It is very much true. I think the last, you mentioned the human trafficking work. I can tell you exactly where I was when you called me to say that. I was ironing a shirt at that point. That was way too much information. But anyway, okay, so I do want to highlight a couple things from the board over the last year or so. I think I mentioned one, which was the incredible jump up in the scope of work for REACH and thus for the board on integrating the human trafficking program. I think also over the last couple of years, we're still, in a sense, catching up on the expanded scope of work that the city has provided to us. One of the things that I did when I first joined the board, and I think in addition to Levi, who has now fled the room, oh, he's headed for the apple crisp. Okay, so in addition to Levi, I'm the second longest serving board member of REACH. Adel Hassan, who's not here right now, will be the longest serving member for about the next 27 minutes or so. But one of the things that I did and recommended early on was that we start doing program focuses at our meeting. So at our board meeting, we would have REACH staff and program admins come in and tell us the nuts and bolts of a particular program. I've been on the board since 2020, and I think I've now seen every program, barely. And I'm not quite sure. I think there might be a couple that I still haven't seen. So the scope of work and the amount that we do is mind-boggling. But I do want to tell you a couple of quick stories from this past year. So when I first joined REACH, and I joined, Levi and I did our board interviews, that week right before COVID really shut everything down, when we were like, should we be here? Should we be doing it in person? We were elbow bumping. It was kind of a weird time. That's when we did our board interviews. And think of how much the city has changed since then. Think of what the city was like in 2019 and 2020 and the challenges we were facing versus the challenges we're facing today. And REACH has grown and adapted to all of those. But one of the things that I think has become very interesting, and Mr. Mayor, you'll be well familiar with this, is how much some of the work that we do, be it on new arrival integration, on guns and gangs, on community safety, et cetera, has migrated out of what might be thought of as the downtown into all of our communities. And I had a little experience this year where our community had a community safety meeting, was called. And my wife says to me, well, are you going to go to that? And I said, yeah, I think so. She said, won't there be like 5 or 6 angry people there? And I said, I don't know, but I kind of want to find out. So I went, and we had our community hall, which is an older community on the south side, and we had, I think, well over 100 people in that hall concerned about community safety. And so I thought, wow, it hadn't even occurred to me in that moment that REACH should be involved in this, because it seemed like it was a different place. And so I sent a note to Jan. I didn't call her. See, there's a little difference here. It didn't appear on the I emailed, and she said, no, this is definitely something we do. And I see Kelly looking at me from the back of the room here. And Kelly sent me a list of all of the communities with whom REACH was already working. And I can tell you that it would not have been the same list of communities that I would have thought would have this level of concern when I joined this board in 2020. So the landscape has changed, the impact of REACH programs has changed, the size of the programs has changed. And I think we all appreciate maybe more in Edmonton the need, and Mr. Mayor mentioned it, the scope of work that's to come. I do want to also share one more thing before I move on to the important business of our AGM, which is, I looked up this morning before I came here the first business email that I received from REACH, and I was at the time on the Finance and Audit Committee. And Adele remembers it well. And it was the budget and revenue and all the financials for REACH at that point. And the main revenue number at that point, which aligns with our expenses as we flow through, is about $7.5 million. And today you'll see financials where I think the similar line is about 12.8, if I remember correctly. And so that gives you a sense of how much the organization itself has grown, the financial scope of work has grown, and the program delivery requirements has grown. And every single partner of ours would say, and we would like to do more. And if you doubled our resources, we could use every one of those resources. But I do want to turn down and highlight the work that Adele and Sue and our treasurer John have done in terms of taking an organization that was working at that level and to grow it. Jan mentioned the exponential growth on the staff side, but I think on the financial management side and the working with all of our partners and the work that goes on with our auditors, et cetera, there's been a massive lift there that none of you see. And this is my chance to say thanks from the head of the board table, so to speak, to both the staff and to John for that. The last thing I'll mention, sorry, I said that already, but this might be the last thing, is that we are in the process of finalizing the strategic plan renewal for REACH. So sometime in the next year, and my vice chair, Cheryl Fix, has been heading some of that work up, you will see a new strategic plan that identifies where REACH sees itself in 4 or 5 years from now. And then, of course, we will have some new councillors and a new mayor to come in the fall, and so we'll have a new team to work with from the city as well. So we're really looking forward to that. So thank you very much. Now I get to turn us on to the business of the day. As is tradition, we first moved to the approval of the 2024 annual report and AGM minutes. And you all know that I'm a professor at the U of A, or some of you will know that. So it has been my tradition to quiz at least one board member on the contents of the minutes, which they have read. No, just kidding. So you'll find a copy of them, and I would like to make a motion to receive and adopt the 2024 annual report. Could I have a seconder for that motion, please? So Cheryl's got me covered there. And all in favor? And I think Christy's tracking. Where are you? We're good? Okay, thank you. I guess I should have noted previously that we have quorum, but I think we're covered on that. And then, sorry, so that was the annual report. And then the second piece is the AGM minutes, so from 2024, which again, I will make a motion to approve the 2024 AGM minutes. And I need a seconder for that as well. Do I have Teresa? And then all in favor of that. And I think all voting members are in. Perfection. And then I will say motion carried. And then that is the end of my role at this point. I would like to invite REACH Treasurer John Stelter to present the 2024 financial reports and audited statements.
Thank you, Andrew, very much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Stelter, and I am the treasurer for Reach Edmonton. In the meeting package that's distributed, you'll find a copy of the December 31st, 2024 audited financial statements. And an external audit is conducted annually to provide assurance to our funders, members, partners, and communities that our financials are appropriately reported and that we have proper governance and internal controls in place. KPMG is our external auditor. We're joined today by Natalie and Nico, so thank you very much. And I'm pleased to report that KPMG issued a clean audit opinion on our financial results this year and did not note any deficiencies in our internal control or operational processes. Again, a very good news story. Thank you for the continued leadership and support of Adele, Sue, and the finance team. Made my job very easy this year, which I'm very happy about, so thank you very much. The 2024 financial report is included in the package on your tables. On an overall basis, as Andrew has said, we did see, again, continued increase in the amount of activities of Reach this year. We received almost $9 million of funding from our partner, the City of Edmonton, which we're very thankful for. There was an increase in the last year of approximately $1 million that was approved and provided to us to support the 24/7 initiative, and again, we're exceedingly thankful for that. We also received good support from other levels of government, both the province of Alberta and the government of Canada, to support a number of our initiatives, as well as a number of charities and other private organizations in the city and in Canada. And that was almost $2.4 million of funding. As Andrew has said, Reach is a flow-through organization, so the dollars that come in head out. So this year, there was a total of about $9.3 million, which was dedicated to program activities within the city. And we spent around $2.4 million on overall the operations of Reach itself. We did have a small deficit this year, but that was taken care of by some of the accumulated dollars that we had from prior years. So again, I think we're in a good financial state. So I'd like to now move to approve the December 31st, 2024 audited financial statements. May I have a seconder, please, Cheryl? Thank you very much. Is it all in favor, please? Carried. Now for the selection of auditors for the year ended December 31st, 2025. The Board of Directors has recommended that Reach Edmonton appoint KPMG as auditor for 2025. So I, John Stelter, now move that the Board of Directors approve KPMG as the auditors for the year ended December 31st, 2025. Could I get a seconder, please? Miles, thank you very much. All in favor? Carried. Thank you very much. That's the extent of my business for today. I'd like to turn the floor over to Miles, our Governance Nomination Committee Chair, to introduce our slate of candidates for the board for 2025.
All right, folks, it's an absolute pleasure to be here today. My name's Miles, and as John mentioned, I'm the Governance and Nominations Committee Chair. I would like to take this time to thank all of the individuals that make up the Reach Board for your time and contributions. I've learned so much from you in this past year, and now we're going to move on to the election of new Board of Directors members. Now, in your nomination, or in the meeting package, you'll find photos and bios for this year's slate of nominees and also our departing board members. We have 5 new nominees standing in with 6 departing board members. Now, can I ask the nominees who are present today to stand up when called? And we have the following recommendations for the Reach nominees for a 3-year term, and that includes Rachel Faith Hamilton Ancom Reddy, Akanksha Batnagar. Please stand. Yes. Thank you. Robbie Caboni, who is not with us today, Ike Nawaka, and then Funky Smith. I move to approve the full slate of nominees for the 2025 to 2028 term. Could I look for a seconder, please? Thank you, Cheryl. All right, now I'll call the motion. All in favor? All right, any opposed? And the motion is carried. Thank you. So welcome to all of you to Reach's board, and I'm so excited to get to work with you over this past year. Now I will turn it over to Jan to bid farewell to our departing board members.
Congratulations and welcome aboard to everyone. I haven't even got to say hi to you yet, but we're having a meeting after this. Now, just before we go to say to the departing board members, I have to go back because the wonderful Christy reminded me that we did forget one little thing here at the end of my recognition of the staff team. I'm coming on as page 18, was it? Oh, can't even remember a number, but okay. So we are also, in addition to the wonderful, incredible staff we have, we're also lucky to have a pool of over 50 volunteers who support the many partnerships and initiatives Reach is involved in, as well as some of our community partners. From our Yes Reconnect events like Resource Connect, our YEG Reconnect and Resource Connect that create networking opportunities for the not-for-profit sector, to the new the night market the YEG Ambassador is hosting alongside our community partners this summer. Reach volunteers play an essential role. And I would specifically like to call out some dedicated volunteers that you can see on the screen who have been with us for 10 years or more. And that's Jennifer, I'm not going to say this right, Jennifer Rosande Smittle, Tina Trong, Brenda Wong, Domina Lufama, and Fatima Adilahai. I'm sorry, I really massacred those. Are any of you in the room? You are. I thought only one of you. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much for your service. Okay. Now, this is the part of the AGM that I really dislike the most, and that is saying goodbye to outgoing board members. Reach continues to be so grateful for the dedication of our board members who are champions, ambassadors, and cheerleaders for us. We appreciate their oversight and how diligently they work to create a strategic vision for our team. As a small token of our appreciation, each departing member who has fulfilled one of 2 terms will receive the very coveted Reach Pyramid. I don't have any in the room because the departing members aren't here, but thank you so much for your time and thoughtful commitments. We also have a few departing board members since our last AGM that we would like to acknowledge. Their bios are in the meeting package. They had to leave early due to other time commitments and the great work they do in the community, and that included Candace Cleveland, Jared Wesley, and Massa Adelby. And Jessica Hutton and Charlene Williams. Many of them, as I said, had very important commitments in the community. And as Andrew mentioned earlier, other than him, the next longest serving board member is Adil Hassan, and I'm sad that he can't be here today, but he will be leaving having served his full 6 years. We're very sad to say goodbye to Adil after he generously served 6 years on our board. He played many roles during his tenure, including chair of the ED Evaluation Committee, and even acted as the treasurer. He was really quite distraught when John came along with many qualifications, thereby replacing Adil. That's not quite how it went, but as you can well imagine. Yeah, Donna's going, that's not the way I remember it. Well, the truth is he was extremely relieved, but Adele helped Reach access many newcomer communities and was instrumental in starting our work to combat anti-Islamophobia. We will miss him, but know that he will continue to be a Reach ambassador. Okay, I know this has been a lot of Jan up here, so I'm going to get through this next part as quickly as possible, but I think it's really very important that we just take a minute to look back. I think we have a slide to look back on the 15 years that were Reach, and we have a really wonderful video to show you at the very end, too. So from the beginning, Reach had the privilege to be supported and connected to many, many incredible organizations and individuals, many of whom are here in the room with us today. As we mentioned earlier, Lindsay Kelly, who was here, and Fred Rayner co-chaired the task force that produced the Reach report, which recommended the creation of Reach and formed the foundation of where we are today. Mayor Sohi, as you know, was also part of that. How did Reach come to be? Sometimes people ask that. We all think of it all the time, but you probably don't, because 15 years goes by really quickly. So Kate Gunn, who many of you know, sadly was not able to be here with us today. She really wanted to be. She was actually Reach's first executive director. While she wasn't able to celebrate with us, she did send a message that I'll share on her behalf. She starts by reflecting on the membership kickoff event in 2020. 2020, that wouldn't be 15 years ago. Maybe I should put my glasses on. In 2010, for their brand new Reach Edmonton. And in her words, the task force co-chairs Lindsay Kelly and Fred Rayner hosted the Edmonton media event along with other task force members and staff. There was a strong turnout of local media for this news story and a lot of anticipation about the birth of a tangible, innovative, community-grounded organization. From the initial visionary role of Lindsay Kelly, who was with us today, and Fred Rayner, to the dynamic, I had to pay her for this next one, but I better read it, for the dynamic and driven leadership of Jan Fox. Christy, I would have thought you would have caught that, taking it out of my notes. Kidding. So we have lots to look back on. Its reach was to engage Edmontonians in building connections that underpin a safe community. Its reach for new approaches to the complex challenges of addressing the root causes of crime and preventing them. Its reach for new partners to collaborate and in a world of silos. I think we've done a lot in that regard. I think Kate would be very proud. So let's take a moment to celebrate with pride this Made in Edmonton creation, a unique Canadian organization forging new paths forward in community safety. Thank you, Kate, for that message. I also have a message from the past Reach board chair who's in the room. Are you still here, Pilar? Yes, there you are. Thank you for that. We should have you come up and say it, but no, okay, I'll read it. All right. Throughout my tenure, I was inspired by Reach's ability to adapt swiftly to the evolving needs of our community, especially in the face of the pandemic. From pioneering the COVID-19 Community Resource Database to supporting frontline workers with online training, Reach consistently found innovative ways to serve those in need. The 24/7 Crisis Diversion Team has remained unwavering in their mission, providing essential support for vulnerable individuals. Reach's dedication to collaboration and resilience has left a lasting impact, as did your work with us, Pilar. Thank you very much. So we've certainly grown, as you've seen, over the past 15 years. We've tried to meet the needs and have learned an enormous amount, but we haven't lost our small organization feel. We got our start from the Safer Communities Initiative Fund, which was a provincial fund, and that's where RapEd was born. It was our first foray into collaboration, and I got to tell you, I was really nervous. I was the first executive director. I was the first in the new organization, and there was this opportunity to apply for some significant dollars from the federal government. And traditionally, what we would do is all of the organizations that were youth serving would apply for the grant and effectively compete against one another. But what we did instead was we brought everybody together and asked them if they would take a leap of faith and if they would create RapEd with us, and they willingly did. But I can tell you, being so scared at that first meeting, thinking they're going to say this is silly, but it isn't, and RapEd continues to flourish today. Another example of our early work was using schools as community hubs. We worked with United Way, Alberta Capital Region, and others on the All In for Youth program, which continues to exist. And to work behind the scenes, we ensure that 1,700 kids can access summer programming each year through our out-of-school time collaborative. Early on, we also created the Reach Aboriginal Leadership Circle through Public Safety Edmonton. And that was the beginning of our journey into learning and building really strong relationships and attempting to be allies with the Indigenous community. And we're very proud of our partnerships there. We moved into filling a gap with crisis diversion, as you all know. Some of you might remember the initial version of that was MAP, the Mobile Assistance Program. And it was very successful. But what we learned was that the original idea of MAP was that we would deal with the most vulnerable individuals and then carry on with them and help them to meet the services. But that meant that they were so busy connecting people to services that they weren't diverting the crisis. So we had to pivot a little bit and become just crisis diversion. And I want to say something I'm proud to say. Just last night, we were out with the people from Bristol having dinner, and we came across someone who was in crisis. And I was very proud to be able to call the 211 team. And they were there and dealt with the situation, and within half an hour called me back to say that the person had been taken to safety and was very appreciative for the service. So sometimes we hear all the negative stories, but that was a really excellent one. During, as Pilar mentioned in her comments, during the COVID-19 pandemic, we played a big coordinating role. All of you in this room will remember that a big spotlight was shone on the gaps in our community. And we just didn't know how we could help, so we did whatever we thought could. For example, we were getting laptops to families and putting them in homes so that kids could study, because schools closed down and they sent their kids home with maybe one laptop, and maybe there were 4 or 5 kids. And yeah, Kelly, you're still working on some of that, aren't you? There you go. So it was obviously a big gap that we needed. I remember calling up Martin from the Edmonton Community Foundation and saying, you know what, there's no out-of-school time programming these kids. What's going to happen with these kids? And he said to me, he said, you do whatever you need to do, and he said, and I'll write you a check. So I went to the dollar store and I bought every dollar thing I could think of, whether it was bubble blowing or skipping ropes or sidewalk chalk, and we put together kits and sent the bill to the Edmonton Community Foundation. He still loves to tell that story. But it was those kinds of things that we did to fill the gaps with the team. We also worked really hard with many of you in the room to address family violence, which we didn't know what would be happening during closed doors during COVID. We knew that was a huge gap. And we worked with groups of women to help create a text line so that those women could text for help and not necessarily be seen talking on the phone in front of a potentially abusive partner. In recent years, of course, we've increased our focus on human trafficking, and we're part of the tripartite entrusted by the government of Alberta to establish the new Alberta Centre to End Trafficking in Persons, and that tripartite included Native Counselling Services Alberta, Not in My City, and Reach Edmonton. We never stop developing, and no one day is the same as another. We've always placed huge importance on connecting with the community, to ask what the community needed, and positioning ourselves to meet those needs, not the other way around. Everything has evolved, but we are continually learning with what the data tells us, and we are able to change on a dime. Most important is the incredible trust we've built within our community partners and stakeholders, whose contributions really cannot be underestimated. I've said it 1,000 times, the best solutions are in the community, and our job is to help the community build the capacity to implement their solutions. There's so much more to share. I could go on for another 15 years, but I've been warned against that with my life here. So this part of the presentation was carefully scripted, but we do have a video we're very proud of that captures the 15 years we've had together. So cue the video. And that's
there was seen to be a need for a coordinating group who could bring together a diverse set of stakeholders to really start to think about prevention and community safety in an integrated way. And after the former mayor held a task force to put this together, REACH was the result.
REACH is an organization of stakeholders who work together in order to build safe communities. What REACH attempts to do is to bring together some capacity, bringing groups together to sort of look at something in a different way through a lens that is more data-driven, a lens that has more of a collective impact, a lens that is more about community development.
That's very unique. That's the foundation, I think, of REACH, is they are supporting, giving organizational capacity to organizations that don't have the capacity themselves.
REACH brought everybody together, and from my experience, I don't think that has been done in the past. And it was able, as I had mentioned, to really bring people that are in the field that wouldn't normally work side by side in a collaboration, and really look at how we start that trend of other agencies working together.
I'm so thankful for REACH because they're all about collaboration and really good at bringing people together.
Oh, Rapid has made me feel like I've transformed my life. 2 years ago, I'd never picture where I am today and who I am today. It's just mind-blowing to look back at how I was and reflect and be able to just see myself grow and how much I've learned from all these great people.
So Rapid was Edmonton's first high-fidelity wraparound initiative. And it took a fair amount of time to do the training and do the coaching so that our team felt really comfortable with actually implementing the model.
The best thing also with Reach Edmonton is it is not like they prescribe or write a proposal on what they want to do, but they get into contact with natural and elected community leaders and ask, is there anything we can do together? Can we work together? What are your needs? And once those needs are identified, and then they would say, well, what do you need for us to ensure that the resources are coming? And so they would give you the resources and you go manage the resources, whether they are human or financial.
So I think really what Reach is it's an organization that is not only a primary organization that does things, but it's a secondary organization that builds up, maybe even more importantly, builds up other organizations to do the great work that makes communities safer and stronger and healthier, and people feel more included. And that's really what builds a vibrant community.
I think that Resource Connect is such a wonderful example of Reach's mandate, which is to build a culture of community safety. That we know that safety resides with community, it's led by community, it's not led by someone else, and it's made richer by people connecting with each other. So I just think Resource Connect is a wonderful example of what Reach is aspiring to do in Edmonton.
We're so used to being in silos all the time, and this type of event brings us together so we know what each other's doing, so that we can connect, and then we build on those connections. So, you know, we spend one afternoon together, but for the next year, we've built on these amazing connections, right?
I think we can say that in the 15 years, we've become mainstream. We've become, certainly through things like 24/7 and Rapid and our out-of-school time programming and many, many other initiatives, people have come to see us as really significantly adding value to the community.
There's parts of the world that are looking at Reach going, I want to model you. So we're providing a role model around the world to other organizations and communities and cities and towns on how to do this better so that you can actually reach the goal of safer communities and safer cities.
It's a great organization. They support the community. They want you to share the work that you do with everyone and able to help out each other.
Reach is such a great example of what happens when research-backed methods meet community coalition building, coordination, and ultimately respect. Congratulations on reaching 15 years. It's a really important milestone, and we're sending you all the best from Peace in Our Cities Network.
So it's Martin from Empire Fighting Chance. We're proud to be a partner of Reach. They're often held up across the world as one of the best violence prevention offices. So for us, it's made a massive difference to what we're trying to do here in Bristol.
I'd like to congratulate Reach on the past 15 years and their support of the community. Reach has been a valuable partner to the Edmonton Police Service, and things like the Crisis Diversion Team provide us the supports that we need for those in need on our street. Thanks, Reach, for all you do. Thanks for contributing to public safety, and I look forward to what you bring next.
Well, thanks to the communications team, both for pulling that together and for not having a picture of me in it. So I'd like to end, first of all, just again by congratulating Jan and the staff, in particular the longtime staff, Holly, Kelly, and Adele, that we acknowledged earlier today, for all of the work that you do. So please join me in sort of acknowledging that. And with that, it's my pleasure to officially adjourn the Reach Edmonton Council 2025 AGM. A reminder to current and new board members that we're going to be meeting briefly after this, so please, Christy will probably help find you at the door and lead us somewhere. I think she has some sort of flute to lead us away. And other than that, thank you all for joining us and for building connections to make our community a safer place to live. Thank you.